We are back with another special edition of the Max Coverage podcast. I'm Kiefer Gazar. With me, as always, is Max from Max Coverage. And everybody, woohoo! It is time for our NFL Honors Show.
Oh, yeah. Who's going to get the big trophy? The MVP? Who's going to take home Rookie of the Year? Who's going to take home Coach of the Year? And we also have some special awards that we're going to hand out to y'all today. And it's been a long season, grueling, ups and downs, but these people and these teams deserve it.
Yep, every single one of them. And just wait till you hear what our stinky poopy moment of the year is going to be. Sponsored by Washington Football Team.
Oh, yeah. And if you haven't listened to us, I don't know what happened during the season, but every episode we gave y'all our stinky poopy moment of the week. Well, today is the grand finale. Who's going to take home the most smelliest award of the freaking year?
That's right. Let's get right into it, though. There was a lot of good rookies this year.
Fantastic.
But, Max.
Fantastic.
Who makes your offensive and defensive rookie of the years this year?
So, this one was kind of obvious, guys. Let's start it off with the offensive rookie of the year. Now, it was a battle between two guys for me. It was Mac Jones and Jamar Chase. Well, if you haven't seen our midseason award, I gave it to Jamar Chase. I gave the little edge over him. And you know what? It made me kind of second guess myself because we saw Mac Jones go on a little spree of him winning, of them climbing to the top of the AFC for a little bit, the Patriots.
And honestly, what's kind of interesting is during the same time Mac was rising, Jamar was kind of falling because he started to slow down over that time period.
Exactly. And I was like, damn, maybe I should have picked Mac. The guy from Duval, guy from Jacksonville, 15th pick overall. But nah, Jamar, he showed us why he is the Rookie of the Year against the Chiefs. I think that game single-handedly won him this award. Look at the guy's stats. He broke the record for most receiving yards in a season for a rookie with 1,455 yards. He finished with 13 touchdowns, slightly edging Justin Jefferson's records from last season.
Did it in week 17.
Yeah, he did it one game more, so shout out Justin. He's still a beast. Teammates in college also.
Yes.
So LSU's been pushing out these receivers, and if it wasn't for Jamar Chase, we talk about the Bengals having a great season. If it wasn't for Jamar, I don't know if the Bengals would be there. You know what I'm saying? I know Joey Burrow did his thing. He has his weapons.
Joe Mixon was really good, too.
Mixon as well.
I wouldn't say all that they wouldn't be there without him. But I'm with you. To me, it was the last 3 games of the season made it a runaway.
Yeah.
Because Jamar Chase, to me, was consistent over those last 3 games. And Mac Jones, I don't know why, but they seem to be polar opposites here when they perform. But Mac Jones really, dude, I'm not even counting the postseason game. Just the regular season, especially those last 2 weeks, he really did not perform well at all.
No. And, it's still a great season for him, but I don't think he's not going to take home the award. So
no, I don't think so either.
Us.
Yeah, definitely not from me.
No. So who do you have Rookie of the Year defensively? I know this is
just and so guys, easy, listen, we're gonna have the same answer. We didn't talk about the same answer, but it's just too obvious. The Rookie of the Years to me this year, it's not really that close. It's Micah Parsons all day. He was a hybrid edge linebacker was how he was used because they play a true 4-3, so they throw him at the edge position and the defensive end slot and then put him back at linebacker. Dude, he had over 10 sacks. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that it was over 10 sacks.
13.
And he had a ton of tackles because he was also playing linebacker. So, not even close out on the defensive front to me. He ran away with it.
And he,
he's a candidate for defensive player of the year.
Yeah, he is, no doubt about it. And he also was used as the mic for a little bit as well. Dan Quinn gave him the mic, basically the quarterback on defense. But I have the stats for you right here. He finished with 84 tackles, 64 of those were solo, 13 sacks, 20 tackles for loss out of those 84. And he also forced 3 fumbles. The guy was flying around the field. He stayed healthy, played a lot of snaps. He barely was taken off the field. And without Micah Parsons, this defense ramped it up. Dan Quinn came in, did a phenomenal job, but he was their leader on defense, especially with DeMarcus Lawrence being hurt early in the season. Without Micah, this might have been a different defense. So,
and you think about the Cowboys too. They like before he got there, a lot of people considered Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch like two talented linebackers for them, and now you're like, who
are these guys?
Who? Jalen Smith?
Jalen Smith's bouncing around.
I know, getting cut left and right, like just trying to fight for a career now. And then Vander Esch, I mean, he's not terrible, but he's not the star.
Yeah, and we thought Vander Esch, like when he came out of his rookie year, we were like, oh damn, they found somebody with this guy.
But to me, Parsons, there's like no way, like he will not have that same path because he was just too like wow.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this draft, I didn't think I feel like he should have been a top 10 pick. He got picked 11, I think. 11 or 12.
Yeah,
still right outside there, but he was definitely number 8 around that area for me. And our buddy French, he's a huge Cowboys fan, and when I was texting him, I was like, Parsons is there, go get him. And they picked the right decision there. I mean, easily a top 2 player of this draft.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Shout out you, Micah. Good season. But let's flip to a breakout player for you, like defensively or offensively. Who do you got? Like who who made that leap for you?
Right,
this year?
from good to great.
Yeah.
So I got a few honorable mentions here, but I've got to go with Michael Pittman. I mean, he had and granted, I know that it was kind of expected in a way because really most of his numbers from last year came on that back half of the season, so you kind of got to see it towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
But this year he was just very consistent in an offense that really revolves around the run game. He was the only good receiver that you could rely on for that Colts team. They got a couple of solid tight ends, but I mean their receiving core is kind of weak. I mean T.Y. Hilton is so old and he's got in and out of the lineup because of injury. Mm-hmm. I think this will for sure be his last year. But you never know.
Playing or in Indy?
Playing.
Okay.
I think he'll call it. I mean, dude, he had that neck injury this year. He said he thought about retiring when it happened.
Yeah.
So, I just think that's a guy you're definitely going to be able to build around. And I'm not knocking Carson Wentz, but I'm just saying he would be even better with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford, bro.
Oh my God, yeah.
He helps receivers a lot. Even it doesn't matter about his numbers. He'll make sure yours are great.
Hell yeah.
I just think that Michael Pittman is the guy that I have to go with, but I do want to throw out a couple of honorable mentions here.
Okay.
The first one, Cordell Patterson. I mean, that was my midseason pick. The only reason that I can't justify putting him at the top is because the Falcons slowed down how they used him towards the end of this year. I mean, he was still heavily involved. Don't get me wrong. He was definitely still heavily involved, but he didn't have those breakout games that he was having earlier in the year. So, I mean, to me, Michael Pittman, I got to give it to him over him.
Slope,
the slope went in the wrong direction. And then also somebody that I don't know if you'll agree with or not, but this is really based off of their last 5 games of the regular season. Devin Singletary, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he went from a situation where they used him sometimes
it was a committee
to just using him all the time towards the end of the year. And he literally had at least 1 touchdown in all 5 of those last games, which if you remember, they never used him for touchdown shit. It was always Zach Moss, who definitely took a back seat the second half of this year. So to me, he took over that job. And this isn't a run-heavy offense, but since he's been rolling those last few games, they've been able to run the ball.
Yeah.
So that's why I got to honorable mention him. And then the last guy that I got to throw an honorable mention to, Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. We all knew he was a really good player, but to me this year, he was an elite player. I mean, dude, I can point to you that Bills game, specifically, he literally won them the play on the last game. He was so disruptive. Josh Allen always gets his quarterback, his 4th and 1 quarterback sneaks, and he could not get it on Jeffrey Simmons. And I've seen him take over quite a few games where it was just dude, they just can't stop this guy. He's eating up all your runs. He's getting pressure to the quarterback. He had 8.5 sacks from the defensive tackle position. I mean, to me, that was just great. He had a great year.
Yeah, you've been talking about him all season, so he has been phenomenal for the Titans. All good players that you named out there. I had to go defensively for mine.
Okay.
I shouted this guy out probably around week 3. He plays for my team, so I kept a good eye on this guy. His name is Devondre Campbell, linebacker. Okay? Now, let me run down what this guy did for the Packers this season. Zadari Smith was out all year because of a back issue. He had back surgery. He missed all season. So this guy was next man up, right? He came from Arizona last season. He played for his first 4 years with Atlanta Falcons. He got drafted there. But this season, he had 146 tackles for us. 102 of those were his solo tackles. Okay, not a lot of tackles for loss because he played linebacker and he was.
Does he play in the middle or?
Yeah, he's a middle. And
because you compared him to Zadarius, and Zadarius is like edge, right?
Well, they swap around. This is why he had more of a role because we've had a lot of key injuries in our linebacking core, like Oren Burks, Zadarius. Barnes was hurt a couple weeks, but he's been healthy all season long. He's just been there. And from last year to now, last year he had 99 tackles and 69 solo. So he did more tackles this season solo than he did all last season combined. So that was a huge jump. He had 2 interceptions this season, 0 last season, and he's a first-team All-Pro linebacker, first time in his career. Still no Pro Bowl. He didn't make a Pro Bowl, but we don't count those, okay? This guy was just a freaking breakout star on the defensive side of the ball. And, dude, with big key of the Packers defense, if you ever watch the Packers play, you'll see number 59 running around, okay? Just watch. This dude's all over the freaking field. So, that's my breakout star of the season for sure, was Devondre Campbell. Easily.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and flip it over to the opposite end of the spectrum. Who was your most disappointing fantasy player? Not necessarily on your team, but just
everywhere.
You expected him to be there for you, and he just could not come through for you.
All right. Well, this guy coming into the season was actually, if you read the Vegas little spreads, he had the best odds to have the most receiving yards this season. You know who this guy was?
Who?
Calvin Ridley.
Oh my God.
I kid you not. Coming into the season, he had the most odds to lead the league in receiving yards. Okay, guys? Now, this guy has some problems going on personally. Okay, I'm not going to come out and say, screw this guy. He has some problems.
I'm going to be honest with you about that before you even get into it. I think that's total bullshit. You know what I think is happening? He doesn't want to play for the Falcons. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, you pointed that out. And there's also been reports that come
right, exactly. And that's why I think that's what this whole thing's been about.
It could, man. But, fantasy-wise, okay? Fantasy-wise, this guy was supposed to be the guy, okay? Number 3 rounder, depending on how big your league is. This guy was just a flat-out bust. There's nothing, I can't say anything else. Please get better. Whatever you have mentally, take care of, okay, yeah. Calvin? If you're watching this,
and take care of it. It's so true, too, because, as you know, once he was dropped in our league, I was so injury deficitated that I was like, you know what, dude? I'm just going to pick you up and hope somehow, some way you come back. But never. He just wasted a spot on my bench the whole time.
Yep. How can you not?
That was a good pick. That was a good pick. So I didn't really think about him. I was really thinking about people that played and they were just disappointing. I got to go with Allen Robinson, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Honorable mention to Julio Jones, anybody that was injured, but I wanted to pick somebody that played a lot. And Allen Robinson, he was hurt this year, but he played in 11 games, dude. And he had less than 500 yards.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That is insane. Mooney took over as the one receiver for the Bears. And they just franchise tagged Allen Robinson. So he got paid a lot of money for this one-year deal. He needed to perform. He knew that. You know what I'm saying? And I think he'll still get paid. I think people will be able to overlook this season and call it an injury season. You know what I'm saying?
Season, yeah.
But listen, for a guy that was so consistent in his career, I am just shocked at how not good he was. He just didn't show up. He wasn't there number one. Fields never leaned on him for anything ever.
No.
So, just absolutely disappointing to me.
And I feel like we missed an honorable mention for Darnell Mooney for Breakout Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, no, he did. I don't know what he finished with, but he definitely did have a good year.
That guy stepped up big time. But, yeah, Allen Robinson definitely. He was one of the hot receivers coming out of this, this free agency, but then he eventually got tagged. But, he was like the number one guy that was available, coming into the season. And he just, I don't know what happened. Maybe he wasn't healthy fully. Don't know. Maybe bad play calling, just can't get open. I don't know.
And also, somebody that I just want to throw out there, and I'll give you the reason why I didn't pick him. Kenny Galladay, didn't pick him. The reason I didn't pick him is because I didn't expect him to be that good with the Giants. I just thought, but I mean, he didn't score a touchdown this year, so that is like kind of trash.
Yeah, he just got paid.
But he got paid a lot of money to not score a touchdown this year. But I didn't include him because I didn't expect him to be that good. I expected Allen Robinson to be that good.
Well, speaking of disappointing. Who's your most disappointing team this season as a whole?
For me, this is a very obvious one. I feel like you'll have the same answer, but I don't know. I got to go with the Chargers, dude.
Oh.
I mean, listen, bro, you had so much talent on that roster, and they could not find any consistency, all right? Their run defense sucked ass all year, and it's not like they don't have any players on defense. Like, they have a few pieces. I mean, you got Joey Bosa, you got Derwin James, you had Asante Samuel Jr. I know that, like, Asante Samuel, he plays corner, but he plays in the nickel. So, I mean, I just feel like this team was absolutely atrocious. They were like, I feel they were very poorly managed, honestly. Like, when I look at Brandon Staley and the job he did this year, I don't think he did that good of a job. I actually would argue that it's possible Anthony Lynn could have made the playoffs this year if he would have stayed the head coach. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, like, why? I mean, their offensive line was a lot improved this year. Last year, their offensive line was ass.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really – and they got healthy people back. They had Derwin James this year. Derwin James missed last year. Like, there was a lot of variables where I feel like they should have been better than they were. So to me, it's hands down, not even close.
Yeah.
It's them.
That's a great one. But I went with Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, that's a good one too.
7-10. I mean, coming into this season, I'm thinking this team could possibly win the division.
Right.
I mean,
and you think they're a lock for the playoffs coming into the year.
Like we talked about, like week 1 or 2 of we're like all 4 of these teams could maybe make the playoffs in this division.
Yeah.
But even with Russ going out with an injury for a month, they didn't like sink. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they lost 3. Didn't. Yeah, they lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah, they lost 3 out of 4.
But I agree with you. Like, they were just as bad when he came back.
Yeah. Like, it was just like
DK Metcalf was way underutilized.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I agree with you. That's a good pick.
It's granted they have a tough division. All right, so
absolutely.
But this team, coming into the season, I feel like they could have split the series with all the divisional opponents. So, I mean, just a disappointing season, bro. 7-10.
Yeah,
that's terrible for them. And Russell Wilson's first season as his losing season, his first season.
Yeah,
as a starter.
And don't forget too, this is a team that signed Jamal Adams to like a huge deal before the season started. And let's not forget. Okay, I think he did get hurt this year, didn't he? Like midway through the year.
He did, but he didn't miss
but
much.
Before that, dude, he was playing like absolute garbage. And what I want to shout out here is this is so random, but whenever they do that intro for him,
I knew you were about to say that.
It's like, I'm the best in the league. But then you look at his ranking and he's PFF. Like 60 out of 62.
Yeah.
Like, dude, embarrassing. Yeah. Embarrassing. Just like, I just had to, to me, that's a big part of your struggles right there.
Yeah. That was hilarious. Like, it was a Sunday night game, I think they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's flip over to the most surprising team. And for me, I mean, even though, what happened this past weekend happened, but it has to be the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this was my most surprising team mid-season, and I'm going to keep it. They were 12-5, bro. Now, granted, they have the worst division in football. All right, that's 6 easy wins right there.
Yep, and they went 6-0 right there.
They did.
By the way, and they were 6-6 against no, they were 6-6 against the rest of the division. Or the rest of the league.
Yeah. I'm talking about for the regular season. Yeah, they were 6-5, 6-6 all season long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we look at that and we're kind of like, okay, well maybe they are not that good. Like maybe they're good, but they're not like Super Bowl contenders. But just the turnaround that they had from last season to this
Absolutely.
season, like I didn't expect them to be 12-5, man, like at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they're my most surprising team, and they made the playoffs. So
okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pick. For me, I would say their defense is what was the most surprising. I expected the offense to be explosive with Dak back, but that defense was definitely surprising. But for me, I had to stick in the same division. I'm going to show the Raiders some love here. I mean, to me, they surprised the shit out of me. They really did.
Raiders are in the same division?
As the Chargers.
Oh,
because I picked the Chargers as the surprise team.
Gotcha.
So
wow.
So the Raiders, I'm picking the Raiders for a couple of reasons. Okay. One, they did skid, yes. Okay, and I talked about it at the beginning of the year when they were on that nice. What were they, like 6-2 at one point or something,
6-3,
6-3, something like that. And before they started the skid, I said they always do this every year.
Yeah.
They skid at the end, and they still did skid, but they didn't completely wash out. They got wins at the end of the season to make it like I feel like they broke 500.
They went 4
with their last 4 were 4-0. Okay, so they definitely broke 500 on that back half of the year. Really, kind of turned into more of a mid-season struggle.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I mean, they went through so much stuff, dude. You lose your head coach.
Oh, yeah.
You lose your deep threat from ridiculous shit. Your first-round cornerbacks waving guns in the air. They overcame all of this shit and made the playoffs. I mean, how can I not be surprised?
Yeah. No.
And they pulled it out to make the playoffs against the Chargers. I did not expect that. So, I mean, got to give it to the Raiders.
Yeah, no, that was
and I pick. Don't love the Raiders, but got to give it to them.
This guy hates the Raiders, hates them with a passion. Yeah, I mean, that's a great one, man. No doubt about it. They deserve it, you know.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to the coach of the year. Who do you think is a guy that just really got the most out of their squad this year?
You know, I want to pat myself on the back again. He was on my mid-season award coach of the year, Mike freaking Vrabel, okay?
Okay, good
pick.
pick.
I just feel like, listen, guys. The Titans finished 12-5. Number 1 seed in the AFC, right? Derrick Henry goes down week 8. You try to make me a bet that they would be above 500 while he's out. You know what? I'm a smart man because I didn't take that bet. They went 6-3 without Derrick Henry. Shut me up because I was one of those guys that say, this team can't win without Derrick Henry. You gotta be kidding me.
And let's mention this too. It ended up not being just Derrick Henry because basically didn't have Julio all year. And also AJ Brown went down for a while there and they still held it down and kept it together. Now, granted, they had a few blowout losses like the Patriots blew them out that 1 week.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, like, I mean, dude, I feel like he deserves it. And, you know, this is always, like, these awards are always during the regular season. So, like, they don't announce it till, like, later on down the road. But if he wins a playoff game, I don't know. I mean, that just kind of solidifies it for me. But honorable mention for me, it's my guy, Matt LaFleur. But I'm not going to say nothing. Go ahead.
All right, so Vrabel was an honorable mention for me. I'm going to go over my honorables first. And then I also had Rich Bisaccia for the exact reason we talked about with the most surprising team. Sean Payton's on there. I mean, they were competing for a playoff spot all the way to the end without Jameis Winston. I mean, they started Trevor Siemian, and that defense was so... They started Trevor Siemian and then Taysom Hill, and that defense was so good. Yeah. So I have to throw his name in there. Zach Taylor's another one where I'm like, hey, I just like the way you manage that young team. They obviously were very talented, so... not going to, like, that's why he's a mention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the guy that I had to go with has never won this award. And when I saw that, I was like, that's just criminally wrong. Mike Tomlin. First of all, okay, how did he even make the playoffs this year? How did you do that? That's like he's a magician. He pulled a freaking rabbit out of his hat there. Yeah. All right? Listen, this is a guy that had to deal with Ben Roethlisberger all year. And I understand the situation. Like, when you have somebody like Ben Roethlisberger, dude, you can't just throw him away like garbage. You can't just be like, dude, you're not good enough to be the quarterback anymore. I mean, he did it for you for so long. You guys won 2 Super Bowls with him. You got to show him that respect. So they did that. They gave him this year.
Yeah.
And he still found a way to get them in the playoffs. And I understand that they needed a little bit of luck from my Jacksonville Jaguars. But, dude, this is a man that's never had a losing season, and he kept that alive. So I am going to have to crown him, Mike Tomlin.
How about this, though? When Roethlisberger was out, 2 years ago? And they had Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, and they still didn't have a losing season. They were like, what, 5-7-1 that season as well? I think they had a tie that season as well.
You mean 9-7-1? Or
no, because they had a tie.
9. Well, you said 5-7-1.
Or 8. I'm sorry, 8-7-1.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was 8-7-1.
I think he should have won Coach of the Year that year.
I agree with you.
You know, but yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin's that is crazy. He's never won
and never lost.
Or never won Coach of the Year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like in that span of 15 years, like
I
know he's won like
13-3, and he's won a Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, they've been in the playoffs year after year after year. Yeah. They've missed it a couple of times recently, but yeah, I'm with you. Like how?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, people like Matt Nagy have won Coach of the Year, so give me a break.
Let's go to the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, this guy, like, there's a couple of names you could throw out there. We skipped this one on our mid-season award. We're sorry. I think we said later on in a couple episodes afterwards. I said Myles Garrett. He kind of he didn't fall off, but, like, he didn't finish the season strong. But I'll tell you who did finish the season strong, and this is kind of like a no-brainer. TJ Watt. Yeah. I mean, come on. If you tie the all-time record in sacks in a single season, you should win Defensive Player of the Year. And this guy should have maybe won it a couple years in a row, like if it wasn't for Aaron Donald. But he had 64 tackles, 48 solo tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 5 forced fumbles, and 22.5 sacks, man. I mean, tying Michael Strahan for the all-time leader ever in a season. So, I mean, TJ Watt is a freaking monster. And then you saw him in the playoff game with the Chiefs. Yeah. Return one. Mm-hmm. That was basically the whole Steelers freaking points right there.
We'll get to that in the next episode. But, yeah, I'm with you too, dude. I picked TJ Watt. I'm with you. No-brainer. And interesting enough, did you know that now the Watt household owns 4 Defensive Players of the Year awards?
Well, not yet.
Because, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Not yet, but they will, because JJ has won it 3 times.
Yeah.
So there's only 3 people that have won it 3 times, and it's him, Aaron Donald, and Lawrence Taylor. So just insane that the Watt family has 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
What about Derek? What about?
I mean, he doesn't play defense. What are you gonna do?
Fullback of the season, right there.
Yeah. So to me, that's an obvious one. And I know that there are like other candidates, but I just feel I'm the same way. You broke the record, and he broke it in the last week. But TJ missed a game, so he still did that in 16 games. And also, as we all know, Michael Strahan was given the last sack by Brett Favre. So he won that award, or he won that record outright to me. Like, he's the sole owner, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Hey, I don't care. That's what it is. Okay. The Watts deserve it, man. They're good. But I want to shout out a different guy that we're not giving him Defensive Player of the Year or anything. But when we were talking about all pros at defensive end, I did not bring up his name, and I was corrected by somebody. So let me bring it up. Nick Bosa did have a phenomenal year. Yes. If I was going to pick a comeback player of the year, which I don't believe in that stupid award, but I don't believe in that stupid award because to me, like, dude, like, they were injured. Like,
you can get hurt as
a comeback to me is like you fucked your life up and then you had to like rebuild yourself. Like that getting hurt, that's out of their control.
Yeah.
But Nick Bosa, he had a great year. And he definitely was worthy of an all-pro tag. So,
sorry, Knipe.
But yeah, that's my Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go ahead and flip it over to offense. We're going to go ahead and go with our go over our Offensive Player of the Year / Best Skill Player. We are adding in this / Best Skill Player because to me it is stupid to have MVP and Offensive Player of the Year both be a quarterback.
Usually they don't do it like that though.
They normally do try to stray away from it, but you can't. Like, it can happen. Quarterbacks are eligible for Offensive Player of the Year. But for me, listen, there was quite a few guys that you could have mentioned here.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, to me it was still obvious. Like, I got to go with Cooper Kupp. I mean, he literally won the Triple Crown. Yeah. Okay.
4th player ever to do it.
Yeah, and second player that played for Matt Stafford. First being Calvin Johnson, but Cooper Kupp all day. Great season.
All right, that would have been the obvious choice, right?
I know who you're gonna pick.
I had to go with JT, baby. Jonathan Taylor.
I didn't think that's who you're gonna say, but okay.
Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, I get it.
Bro.
You know why I had to go against him before you even get into it?
Why?
Because of Jacksonville. Because of Jacksonville.
I know. He's going to get dinged for that. But you know what? Listen, 1,811 rushing yards, 360 receiving yards, 20 total touchdowns. He averaged 5.5 rushes per carry. He did fumble 4 times.
Yikes.
So that's a little dingy. But he averaged 106 rushing yards per game. I mean, the guy was single-handedly the Colts offense. And, I mean, he didn't get the record. I don't think anyone... Well, I think maybe Derrick Henry would have broke it if he stayed healthy this season.
Yeah. He definitely probably would have been my... he would have broke it this year. And he would have been my offensive player of the year if he continued on that pace that he was on. Because, Jesus.
Yeah. But, I mean, dude, Jonathan Taylor... You can kind of say he was like a breakout star as well. I mean, last season he rushed for over 1,000 yards as well. Yeah. But still, dude, 1,800 freaking rushing yards. I mean, Jesus. And the first couple weeks of the season, he was kind of like in the shadows.
They just weren't giving him enough carries. Yeah. That's really what it was about.
And then I feel like once Hard Knocks came on, after that, they started giving this man the ball.
I think that it was because of how their record started, and they realized, like, we're not going to win letting Wentz throw the ball a ton of times, and we need to. And I remember the beginning of the year they tried to get Hines so involved. I mean, they just paid him and made him like a big paid running back.
Get on the ball.
But yeah, it was obvious like JT is the best option for literally every scenario. Like, there's no reason to take that guy off the field unless he needs a rest break.
Unbelievable player. So, that had to have been my skill player.
Okay.
Offensive weapon of the year. But the big dog, the big award, the MVP award, guys. Are you ready? His name is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, listen. Back to back, okay? He won last year. I know this year he didn't have the stats like he had last year. But 4,115 yards throwing, 37 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Now, guess what? Best touchdown percentage in the league, best INT percentage in the league. So he never throws an interception, basically. All right? Now, people are going to say someone else, but let me read what else I got down here. All right? Third in the league in completion percentage, Joey Burrow was number 1, actually, for that. Yeah, so at 68.9%. Freaking laser, like on point, just throwing darts all over the freaking field, baby. Highest passer rating with 111.9. Brady was right behind him. And he went 13-3 because the Packers went 13-4. Remember, he had COVID, so we lost that game. So he went 13-3. And number 1 seed in the NFC once again, okay? I mean, listen, the guy deserves it. Stop with the BS. He's going back-to-back on them. Okay? What do you think?
I mean, I had to go Rodgers, too.
Thank you.
I mean, it would I can understand how you can make an argument for Tom Brady, but to me, it's just like, dude, the Bucs have so many weapons. I know they've lost a few, but they had them for a lot of the year, and Rodgers doesn't have nearly as many weapons. I mean, I'll say this. I think that your running back tandem is better than Fournette and Ronald Jones. But other than that, like, their tight ends, I would say, are better than your tight ends. And they're like your top receiver, I would put them over their receivers. But, I mean, the depth that they have is like I had to pick the Bucs as a unit over the Packers because of the amount of depth that they have at that receiving core, or at least had. Obviously, they lost Godwin
but that was like at the end,
right? It was at the end of the year, and he had already gotten all the blessings of having those guys. So, that's why I'm going Rodgers. Rodgers just like. Where would the Packers be without Aaron Rodgers? They'd be sitting their asses at home right now.
Yeah, so would the
And
Bucs.
that's why LaFleur wasn't even a candidate to be honorable mention for my coach of the year because that, like you have Aaron Rodgers, buddy.
A lot of people, a lot of people are gonna say like, well, Brady has better stats, like you just point out.
Dude, Rodgers missed the game, also. That's another thing to take into account.
Put freaking Rodgers on the Bucs with those guys.
Right,
His
exactly.
Stats would be the same. Okay,
they'd be better probably, to be honest with you.
So listen, back to back. Let me scoot over for my boy. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a fan of the show.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Oh, yeah. So this is called the Stinky Poopy Moment of the Year, okay? Not the week. We're done with that. This is the grand finale of the Stinky Poopy moment of the year.
Yes, it is.
What was your most smelliest, disgusting, just absolutely like horrible to see poopy moment of the year for you?
So I cheated a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I don't think you're going to like what I did, but I had to. I felt like I had to take this opportunity to highlight it one more time because it's just mind-boggling, all right? I'm giving this to the Washington football team's stadium management, okay? Because, dude, they embarrassed themselves this year, all right? First, week 1, okay, you got fucking poopy pipes dropping shit on your fans, okay? Then we had the controversy with the benches, okay? They won't provide heated benches to the opposing teams, so the opposing teams start bringing their own damn benches, okay? And I'll give you a little bit of respect factor on that one because if that was the only thing, I'd be like, okay, I like that. But because of all this other shit, then you have these guys not even leaning that hard on the guardrails, just like slightly on it, and the whole thing breaks, and your fans fall over. And I want to highlight that moment one more time because, dude, think about this for a second. Because I looked at the clip again. Like, if Jalen Hurts was walking on the other side, if he was walking on the left side, dude, he would have a serious lawsuit in his hands.
Oh yeah,
because he would have got hurt, dude. Like, he would not have been able to play. Exactly. And so I gotta put it on you guys because, and even with that though, even with that said, I'll be honest with you. I'd rather that guardrail and you guys fall on me than shit fall on me in the middle of a game. So let me tell you something right now, okay? Whoever is in charge of that needs to be fired, dude. Like, have some respect for your fans, okay? Like, dude, football doesn't happen without fans, okay? You need the money to pay the players, to pay everything. So take care of your fans at least a little bit, dude. Like, you can't get some pipes that don't have shit coming out of them. You can't get sturdy freaking guardrails. What's going on here?
How long do you have to get ready for that? You know, you had 6-7 months of off
exactly.
season. And it's test everything out. All right.
And listen, I'm a Jaguars fan. All right, it's bad for us too. I know your organization sucks. Ours isn't that great, but you know what? Our owner respects our fans. He's always doing upgrades to the stadium for us. So I'm just saying, bro, you need to respect your fans a little more than that. Whoever's in charge of that kind of shit over there should be fired. And the NFL should take action because that's honestly embarrassing for the NFL. You don't have any pride in this team. You don't take care of your team's shit. I mean, you're a professional football program. I bet college football stadiums don't have shit like this happening to them. Okay? So that's absolutely embarrassing.
You keep saying shit because all I'm picturing is that water falling on all the freaking fans during that.
Dude, ridiculous.
Week 2?
Yes, I think it was either week 1 or week 2, but just absolutely absurd, dude.
Dude, all right, I don't think I could top that, but... Yeah, that definitely was probably the worst freaking stinky poopy.
And it's so in your control. You don't need to be a good football team. You don't need to be good at anything except understanding that this is my business and I should take some pride in it.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, it fits the freaking narrative well. Stinky poopy.
I had to go with it. I mean, nothing topped that. That was the whole reason this was created. So I feel like that's what we should finish this with.
What? All right. Well, you know what? I'll keep it in that division. All right, because my stinky poopy moment of the year is it has to be the Giants going for it on QB sneak on 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. They lined up, granted they were pushed back and, they were in the opposing team's, 5-yard line.
They were at their own 5.
3rd and 9, what am I going to think? I'm thinking maybe a halfback dive or just a freaking, something up the middle. Just get some yards to punt, right? They run a freaking QB sneak with, wasn't it Mike Glennon?
Yeah.
What? No, that was unheard. I've never seen this before. And I think that's Joe Judge saying, hey, I'm getting the fuck up out of town anyways. Gettleman, are you retiring? Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah, that was a bad moment. And they've had a few because you remember at the beginning of the season when Joe Judge tried to challenge a touchdown?
Yeah.
Dude, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, no, that whole franchise would be a stinky, poopy moment of the year for me. But just that play,
absolutely.
That sums up.
Yep. Freddie Kitchens is your offensive coordinator. It's just a perfect look.
Yeah.
Just a perfect look of idiots.
Implosion coming soon for it's already happened.
Right.
The Giants are imploding, okay? But yeah, I mean, definitely no doubt about it. That's our stinky poopy moment of the year, guys.
Yes. And that is our NFL Honor Show.
Yeah, the awards
just
show.
like that, it's over. Let us know if you disagree with anything. If there's somebody we forgot about.
Comments.
At the Max Coverage Podcast.
Yes, sir.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow.
And share us,
we are
please.
on all platforms. All right, everybody. We'll catch you when we do our wild card recap and divisional outlook. So we'll see you then. We're out of here. Peace.